My name is Eileen Ryan. I'm with Pounding Pavement. I'm here today with my superstar client who just landed his dream job. Welcome.
Thank you, Eileen. It's been a process getting here, but I'm glad we made it.
I am so thrilled that you found this job. So incredible. I want to talk about your job search and the process so this way you can inspire other job seekers. You graduated when?
I graduated. I graduated in August of 2021.
Okay. And what is your degree in?
My degree is electrical engineering from Rochester Institute of Technology.
Okay, so you graduated, you're ready to attack the world.
Yeah.
How was your job search? How was your job search going?
So initially, I got sort of a late start. I know a lot of my friends were applying during college. I applied after I left college in May, and it was going very, very poorly. I think after like a few months of applying back and on and off, I'd gotten 2 interviews that weren't going anywhere. So it was going very, very poorly.
Yeah, and I remember your mother had reached out to me and said, you know, can I help Calvin? And I said, of course, let's get on the phone. And I don't think you and I met. I think we spoke once or twice, but your parents were kind enough to purchase the program for you. Yeah. And this was in December. What? We didn't start working together though until May. What was your hesitation?
So when I signed for the program, a few days afterwards, a few weeks before I'd signed, or a month before I signed for the program, I got a temporary job basically as maintenance, building maintenance. And they hadn't, it was a struggle to get actually into the building. I had to get some paperwork done and it wasn't letting me into the website. So there was a big struggle there. And I think the day or 2 after I got signed up with your program, they finally got back to me and we got everything straightened out. And I started that Monday. So that, along with, I was studying for the FE exam at the time, and I put that as a more important task. I did not put any time towards your program until after I'd passed the FE exam.
But that wasn't the dream job. We wanted the job as an electrical engineer. So,
right.
So we went back and forth a couple of times trying, you know, this is what parents do, and trying to get you to start this. And okay, so we finally started in May.
Yeah.
Now, we went through the resume development course. How did that differ to your college career services department and how they were setting you up?
I think largely the resume template you have is much far and above better than anything I'd received else. I'd actually done a resume review with like a professional service over the summer beforehand too, and they'd given me similarly poor template and advice in how to include things and what to say. So I think just the formatting and how to put everything in was way better with your course.
Yeah, I mean, I am an executive recruiter. I look at about 500 plus resumes a day. So you have about 5 seconds to catch my attention, or I move on to the next candidate. And so all of these things that I'm teaching you, not only are you going to have for now, you're going to have for the future, but it's based on the view of a recruiter. You know, it's kind of like if you're taking a test in school, who are you going to ask what to study? We've all done this. We ask, what should I study on the test? You ask the teacher who wrote the test, or the superintendent of the schools who wrote the curriculum. You know, there's a difference. And I'm the one on those front lines giving you those answers. So we prepped you on your resume. We prepped you on your LinkedIn profile. And then we moved on to interview preparation.
Yeah. So largely that was really good. The job I ended up getting, the interview questions that they asked were similarly situational, and having some the interview practice you gave was sort of questions that had me describe situations that I was in, how I overcame this, how I accomplished this. struggles, successes, so on and so forth for the questions. And then the questions, they won't be the same, but they'll be applicable memories that I can apply to them. And your course really brought those to the forefront, which was very,
Did
very
you
positive.
feel prepared and confident walking into those interviews?
I did. One of them did just sort of bomb me with technical questions, which, that's on me. But it's varies interview to interview, and I started confident.
Fantastic. So, your job search was so unique, okay? Because then we launched you into your job search strategies, and you were still working full time. So you were doing this at night and weekends.
Yeah.
You didn't apply to that many jobs.
No. And every time I got like positive feedback, I would take my foot off the gas even more. So it was a large struggle to get here. But
did the accountability in this program help you?
Yeah. You were never pushy and in my face, but you were always there. There was always, I knew someone was watching.
And I was every single day on that tracking sheet. Okay. But you didn't apply to that many jobs. And here it is, you were getting calls. I think out of like the first 4 jobs that you applied, 4 or 5 jobs, you got 3 calls out of it.
Yeah. The success rate was great. And even after I accepted the position, I got a couple more calls. So it's been.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, at that point, I wasn't upgrading or updating the sheet anymore. But yeah, it's been a long
Were you
process.
getting this kind of activity months ago before starting the program?
No, not nearly. I think a portion of that was not applying to the right jobs. And I say that it was probably more just a large part of it was the resume. My resume before wasn't shaped for the right jobs, so no one was biting. But I think you showed me sort of what to look for in applications, and afterwards, every application I sent out, I didn't send out that many, but everyone I did send out, I thought there was a good chance that I was a good fit for the position and that they would reach back to me.
And they did, because I think, if I recall, in 3 weeks, you landed a job as an electrical engineer.
That sounds about right, yeah.
So it was 3 weeks and I think almost a year or 9 months. Okay, It was close to a year. In 3 weeks, we landed you the dream job.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled. I love my job. I love being able to launch so many careers. So let me ask you, there's a lot of graduates who are coming out now. What is your advice to them? Because, there's so many people who are struggling and they're going to their college career centers and they're walking out more confused than when they walked in. And they're wondering, they're being told that everything looks great, but it's not working. So what advice do you have for all of them?
Yeah, I would hear that quite a bit as well. I think a great resume is really important. If you aren't getting your foot in the door at all, I think what helped me the most was a great resume that catches the eye and applying to the right jobs that both I want and I think that they want me at. And how to do that, I'm really not an expert. I just followed some advice.
And I am an expert, and that's what worked. Okay. And that's what you reach out to a professional. I mean, you can't be an expert at everything.
Right.
Certainly you don't want me coming in and doing electrical engineering. No, my expertise is in how to get people hired rapidly. So Calvin, I thank you so much for doing this. By the way, what is your new job and where are you going to be working?
My new job is a systems engineer at the nuclear power plant in Oswego.
Congratulations. Bring a warm coat. And I wish you luck in your new job.
Thank you very much for all your help, Eileen. It's been, it's been life-changing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This is Eileen Ryan from Pounding Pavement 101.